Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, December 23rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around and changing, and the candlestick right there will also be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as I said already, represent 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, AMC, some rough news here, which caused a big gap down. And then the price has bounced up nicely. Still a lot of work that needs to be done, but you got to give credit where credit's due, from where it was at its lows to where it's been able to battle back to. Good, solid bounce. But updates here need to be made. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. But the big update here, and this will mean more to those that watched yesterday's video, was this level right here at $4.80. And this is just a rule in technical analysis which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And our chart's perfect? No, nothing is perfect. But I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Check it out. You would expect that to act as resistance. Price came up here, acted as resistance. Price came back, went back up, and look at it. 2 more times in a row, acted as resistance. So the power of charts. So point here being $4.80 is going to be that initial area of resistance if this bounce continues. But even if the price does break above it, don't get me wrong, that is a step in the right direction. But you don't want to get too excited because not that far away, you then have to deal with that 50-period moving average, the purple line right there, which is valued at $4.93. So again, yes, a nice bounce today, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, again, at 480 and then that 50-period moving average. As far as levels of support are concerned, key level to watch, in my opinion, going to be right there at 440. Why is 440 so important? Not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to go down to that level and then fall down below it, what would that be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back to where everything started. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make a great move and then go right back to where the move started, not exactly a sign of genuine power. So those will definitely be the main areas on AMC for Friday. But overall, impressive bounce. Let's see if it can build into Friday. Next one here, CORZ, which is kind of what you don't want to see on AMC, meaning, yeah, earlier in the day, very, very impressive bounce. However, when it came back down, look what happened. It did not put in a higher low. It just kept going lower and lower and lower to where it is right now. And then you map that out with, well, where was it previously? And you can see that it's quite literally gone right back to where it started. So in other words, this big bounce here was just simply what would be known as a dead cat bounce. There was no true, genuine power behind it. Once again, what gives me the right to make that claim that there is no genuine power, because the price is literally gone right back to where it all started. So as far as that early day bounce was concerned, a total dead cat bounce, no true strength. But now what's interesting is, okay, well, we hit the price is once again approaching a level where the prices bounced here before at 8 cents. And let me be very clear. I wish I could say trading was this easy. But just because the price has been down here at 8 cents and has bounced before does not mean that for sure guaranteed if it hits 8 cents, it will for sure guaranteed bounce again. Now, is that plausible? Is that logical to think that it could? Yeah, that's absolutely a plausible thought process on your part. Nobody could accuse you of building a trade plan around 8 cents and saying that's totally random. Like, that makes no sense. No, it makes good sense because the price has bounced from there before. Again, guaranteed to happen again? No, but a valid way to go about thinking? Absolutely. Next one, TSLA, Tesla. And just when you think that things maybe are bottoming out, maybe, I mean, can it really get worse? Wow, yeah, it can get a lot worse. As you know, Tesla just took another big dive today. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both these levels up here. They're both essentially irrelevant right now given how far down Tesla went today. So we'll see what happens with it. And definitely an interesting pattern here has now been formed heading into tomorrow. So we have that part of the pattern, which to give some credit where credit's due. A nice little uptrend. Granted, it's a little miniature uptrend, but what we got to keep in mind is that you have this area of resistance right here across the top, and that area of resistance sits at, what is that? Let's make sure I get that right. 127 mark. So 127. So yeah, you do have a little miniature ascending triangle. That is fair, but you want to keep in mind the entire context of things. So we have a resistance, we have our support. And what was going on before this? Well, you had this big downwards move here, which actually gives you a bear pennant pattern. Now, just because there's a bearish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to continue down. My point here is that you got to think a lot of people will be watching, myself included, and wondering, okay, if the price gets a break through that pattern, is that break going to create a whole nother round of momentum to the downside of continuation of the bear pennant breakdown? No guarantees, but certainly a valid thought process to have. But on the same token, Tesla is so beat down. I mean, is this ascending triangle the kind of the early indicator that maybe a bigger bounce is going to come? So I'll be very, very curious about that 127 mark too. But overall, some very well-defined levels on Tesla headed into Friday. Next one here, APE. I probably should have put this one immediately after AMC since they're basically the same stock. Well, not the same stock, but same company is what I should have said. As this one had a very, very impressive day, a lot of volume and some very well-defined areas. And I like well-defined areas because you got to think that a lot of people are watching them. And when a lot of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. So the level here that, in my opinion, at least a lot of people will be watching is right there, that resistance at $1.30. Meaning, once more, no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that if the price can come up to 130 and get the breakup through there because so many people are watching it, that in and of itself could create good, solid follow-through, good, solid momentum? Yeah, that is certainly a plausible area to watch for you breakout players out there. So $1.30, and then if you're more so a pullback person, at the level here that stands out from a pullback standpoint right there at the $1.03 mark. But overall, gotta love the absolute volume here, and not just a question of can the volume stay strong enough to give it another push up to 130 and get the break up through it. We'll see what happens. Next one, PRQR, and same general idea here about those self-fulfilling prophecies and a lot of eyeballs watching this. I assure you, a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. So it goes back to no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that if the price can turn itself back around and then get up through that level, that break could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a valid, outcome that could play out there. So keep an eye on that level if you like to play breakouts. If you're more so a pullback person, then I'd keep an eye on that level right down there around $2.55, and then it just turn this into one overall pattern. Let's make it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. Put the golf hole down here to make it a little bit bigger. So this would be a bull pennant pattern. Previously on Tesla, we had a bear pennant. Here we have a bull pennant pattern. And like I said on Tesla, just because something is bullish or bearish does not mean that for sure the price is going to go in that direction. So in this situation, because it's a bull pennant, does not mean guaranteed the price is going to get continuation upwards, but it's certainly a plausible general thought process to work with. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on this one. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. A special note though, because this truly is a live event, maybe you're somebody like me. I got 5 kids. You have a busy schedule. I get it. And you're not going to be able to make it tonight. Go ahead, drop me an email because the event will be recorded. So after it's done and I get it uploaded, I'd be happy to email you a link. Or maybe just watching this Friday morning and you completely missed the event. Again, drop me an email. I would be happy to send you a link to the recording. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up. Next one, ISO. And I like this one because it showed quite a bit of strength today. And yeah, as of now, afternoon has pulled back, both in the grand scheme of things, because you got to, again, keyword being grand scheme of things. So big picture perspective, you got to ask yourself, well, what was happening before this pullback? Well, you had this big move right there, which is now giving me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. So bull flag pattern, if you like to play those, then this is a good, in fact, let me just get this area of resistance mapped out like so. But then also from the pullback standpoint, good solid area of support. Down there, the pink line there, which is the famous 200 period moving average valued at $1.11. So if you like to play a breakout, you have a level for there. If you like to play pullbacks, and you have a general area for that. But all in all, if you were to say, just classify this as a pattern, I would call this a bull flag pattern. Next, KAL penny stock, and some very well-defined levels here, which you now know I like for the self-fulfilling prophecy angle of things. And the run trend line right there that I like puts essentially the breakout point right up there, give or take, around the 11-cent mark. So 11 cents going to be an area where I know I keep repeating myself, but I want to hammer it home. There are no guarantees, but is it valid to think that if the price can work its way back up to 11 and then get the break of that trend line, that could spur on more momentum? Absolutely. As far as areas of support are concerned, and if you like to play pullbacks, and right down here at the 9-cent level is a pretty key level here, and I would say important one because it goes back to the whole logic of you not wanting to see prices go back to where they were. So if the price were to go to 9 and then drop below it, now all of a sudden you have the problem where the price has gone right back inside of that channel, which is what it broke out of today. So not saying that'll occur, but that is why 9 cents definitely going to be very important. So 9 cents key level of support, and then 11 cents that breakout point. Next, ORIC, very, very nice pattern here. So you've heard me say this time and time again, so I'm just going to get it drawn in, and then, I'm not going to give all the spiel, so let me change that to green to represent support. So got to think that a lot of people have drawn these trend lines, are watching the same pattern here, so you can potentially get those self-fulfilling prophecies. But again, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move like that. We have our golfo down here for just that final cherry on top of illustration, and we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play stocks below $5, you like to play bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one, AMZN, Amazon. And let's just first go through the big dynamic that occurred today. And that dynamic was earlier on in the day. It broke down through this 84.65 mark, which you can see here was a good, solid, very stubborn level of support. In fact, acted as support during the opening 30 minutes right there. But then that second 30-minute candle, which is that big red bar right there, came down and broke through it. So because of that, and because of the rule that I've already shared, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. That'll definitely be the key area of resistance headed into Friday. So yes, very nice move right here. Got to give credit where credit's due. Nice upwards channel that has formed. But remember, let's think about the bigger picture. What was happening before this upwards channel? Well, you had this big downwards move there. So in other words, in this situation, we have a bear flag pattern. Just because it's bearish doesn't mean that it's going to go down. But all I'm saying is, yes, it is good that it's got an upwards channel, but you don't want to get too overly optimistic because there's just a lot more work that needs to be done, including that first level of resistance there. And then I think it was Tesla maybe, that even if it does break through that level, you still have to worry about and, fight through that 50-period moving average, the purple line right there. As far as supports, nothing fancy or complicated here. Just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was essentially down there at 82.35. So keep an eye on that level watching. But yeah, no doubt about it. Very nice bounce here. Does it continue into Friday, or is this just a dead cat bounce and the bear flag gets continuation to the downside? Friday is going to be very interesting. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that follows the NASDAQ market. So as a whole, if you think the NASDAQ is going to rise, then this one will also rise. It just allows you access at a much cheaper price point, which is why it's the most popular ETF out there. And this should make sense and mean more to those of you that I've said this a couple of times now, but these are lines from previous videos. But the first update is here at 17.55, and this was a level of support. But say it with me, because the price broke below it, you would now expect it to act as resistance. And I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Surprise, surprise, look right where it's having some problems, right at that level there. Now, does that mean that it can't be broken? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area. So I'll turn that into a quick plug. Get signed up for the class if you have not already, or go make sure to drop me that email, because I mean, charts are not perfect, but they truly have a place in trading. So that'll be the first key level to watch right up there at about 17.52-ish. But like Amazon and Tesla, just because the price breaks through it, that is a good thing, but you're going to have to then deal with that 50-period moving average, which isn't too far away, currently at, let's just call it 18.15. As far as levels of support, like Amazon, it's a simple question of, well, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And the bleeding finally stopped down there right around 16.60. So keep an eye on that if the price does come back down. But overall, interesting bounce, nice solid bounce, but is there genuine power behind it? Let's just first see if the price could even get back above that area of resistance. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live training. But like I said, if you can't make it because you have something on your schedule, or maybe you just flat out missed it, then go ahead, drop me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the recording after the event has completed and I get it uploaded. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please help me out. Please help the channel out by doing two easy things. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow, tell me what you want for Christmas. But those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to put in the required effort and time to get them out to you. So again, get signed up for that free training or drop me an email, and hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours.